Welcome to the Main Street Sports Podcast. Kale is back from being sick. Cody's here and ready to rumble. We had some exciting action go down this weekend. I want to start this podcast off just by simply asking you one question, buddy.
Okay.
Is the ACC dead?
No. I feel like I might be the only ACC apologist yet still in the climate of what is college football these days.
Yeah, it's as far as the conference race, it looks great. But what a rough weekend.
Well, it didn't do itself any favors by having Virginia and Louisville lose.
And Duke.
And Duke to the UConn game. That one's the one that hosed my parlay.
Yeah.
Initially, before there was two games, but having Duke lose that game and the way they did, like, I was not aware of UConn. They're sitting there at 6-3. Like,
yeah,
UConn's not bad, but who in the gosh dang world is paying attention to UConn football when they're an independent?
Yeah, Jim Mora, baby.
So I feel like I just was like, I remember seeing when Duke was in, they were 5.5 point favorites. I was like, this has to be the easiest freaking spread ever.
Yeah,
and sure enough,
that was freaking. That's one of those where, like, you keep seeing on the bottom of the screen, it's close. Oh, Duke's gonna pull away, whatever. Duke's gonna pull, and then it shows final, and it's like, what the heck just happened? It was. Because who was it that UConn, was it Syracuse that they took into overtime at the beginning of the year? And everyone's like, oh, man, Syracuse just isn't that good. Because it was right after – who had struggled with Syracuse right at the beginning of the year?
Tennessee did.
Yes, and then everyone was making fun of them because UConn took them to overtime.
Yeah, and then here's UConn sitting here at – they're 7-3.
Yeah,
not 6-3. They're 7-3. Like, they haven't been good. They haven't had a good year since the year they went to a BCS game.
Shoot,
didn't they? That's like 10 years.
I know they were in a New Year's Six game.
Well, I guess that's what I meant.
I can't remember if it was a BCS or.
It might not be BCS, but the equivalent to.
They were in the top 10.
Yes, it was a big bowl game.
Yeah, and that's when they were in the Big East.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why? I mean, I suppose we could save this for off season, but like, why is UConn? Why are they independent?
They have to be
because of basketball.
Because of basketball. That's why they're trying to get out of the Big East for basketball.
So, tell me about that quick while we're.
Okay, so they joined the Big East Conference. Well, the Big East doesn't have football. Like, you have Villanova that has a football team with their FCS. Butler has football, but I think they're like D3 or something because they don't offer football scholarships.
Okay.
Butler doesn't.
Right.
So, like, you have these programs that have them, but, like, UConn, they wanted so badly into the conference. It's like, yeah, you can go to independent for football.
Yeah.
But now they're like, obviously they love being in the Big East for basketball, but they're trying to find something. Even if they could just go to the MAC,
Yeah, but that's not why. I mean, in today's college sports, I mean, you see all like, look at Missouri. They're SEC in football, but they find a way to be in the Big 12 for freaking wrestling.
Yeah. Notre Dame, ACC for every sport except football.
Right. So, I mean, why can't UConn,
yeah,
find a way to be? I mean, I guess it probably, I mean, you're not going to hold out. You're not going to let UConn be in the ACC because you're holding out for Notre Dame to be a football member. But it's like,
it's tough.
It feels like UConn should be an ACC school or at least an American Athletic Conference school.
Yeah.
And
watch, they'll be the next member of the Big Ten.
Oh my gosh. If I'm not even going to entertain that. I'm gonna tell you something though about UConn's schedule because this is kind of crazy.
The
So
they are good and a
they've
ton of
only
sports.
lost they've only lost at Syracuse, at Delaware, and at Rice.
They lost to
By
Delaware
They lost to Delaware by 3, lost to Rice by 3, lost to Syracuse by 7.
in overtime.
Yes. But so that's they've lost 3 games by a total score of 13 points.
Yeah, it's insane. That's like Penn State. When you look at their losses,
Yeah.
double overtime
It's
to Oregon, 3 to UCLA, 3 to, or it might have been 1 to Northwestern, 1 to Iowa. And then the freaking craziest play of the year on Saturday.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Should
crazy.
we start out with that game? Do you want to kind of hop around or do you want to go in order? Because I know you're still dealing with the whole YouTube TV fiasco.
Yeah, that seriously that might have been the real reason why I've been cool, like why I feel like I haven't been myself with college football lately is because I haven't been able to watch my current setup. Like
Yeah,
I can't watch ESPN games,
yeah.
unless I'm all the way in the other
ABC, any of
room
them.
and using that VC box.
Yeah,
So like, and there's no multi-view on that, and
yeah.
so it's
Well,
been kind of gross.
and then KMTV, like I found out later on, KMTV's towers went down, so no one in the Omaha or Western Iowa area was able to watch Iowa Oregon with a clear picture the whole first quarter.
Okay, so that's what we were dealing with then.
Yeah, it was KMTV's tower went down, the Channel 3 in Omaha.
Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting because I mean, when you sent that picture about or the video
Yeah, the
of
text
the
about it. And
yeah,
then
I was
Levi's
like,
like,
yeah,
I
it's
have no
freaking
issues. I was like,
yeah,
what the heck?
yeah, I was getting so angry. I was like, what the hell is going on here? But anyway, that was
Yeah,
quite the game. I mean,
yeah,
I was driving halfway across the state, you
yeah,
know, at the end of that game, but that's the other part to this whole thing. But
yeah. So let's jump into Penn State, Indiana, because Gus Johnson did Gus Johnson things. Um, that was
dude,
wild.
he did his best impersonation of Sean McDonough.
Yeah,
The Michigan State game with the
yeah.
voice cracks and all that.
The pun is blocked. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. It
yeah,
was it was a game where Indiana comes in as a 15-point favorite. The stadium's half to three quarters full.
hmm
Um, like Penn State, this was their Super Bowl. This was their playoff game since they're clearly out. And I mean, the thing that bugs me with this whole Penn State situation is like they're gonna call it a bad for Indiana and Oregon. That's not a good win. It's still the same roster. They're only missing Drew Aller.
yeah. I mean, it's still preseason number 2 team's
Yeah,
roster.
yeah,
So, like, I don't know. Are we gonna then say that Alabama got beat by the preseason unranked Florida State group?
yeah.
Like,
Well, no, it was
or I'm,
more of a shot at your SEC numbers guy that you get into it with
oh yeah,
Alabama
jeez,
beat the preseason number 13 team in the country.
yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
just
I've kind of been distancing myself from X for a little bit because of that. Some of that stuff just gets to be a little much
yeah.
because the clickbait stuff,
Oh
essentially.
yeah.
But
Yeah, and then so
what about that catch, man? I mean, if
dude,
we're talking Indiana, Penn State, obviously, like we can't not
that whole
mention Omar
drive.
Cooper's freaking catch. Like that's like the most insane catch I've ever seen.
Hey, I told you his right foot didn't touch.
Okay, you guys are blind as bats.
Yeah, dude.
Cody and Colin over here saying that both feet were down, and it's like clearly no, they
So
were
it looked like
not.
he had, at first, when I saw that first angle, it looked like he had toe tapped that right foot.
Right.
And I was like
I
swearing by that. And then they show the back angle, and you see that that was like 6 inches above the ground.
yeah. Yeah, which makes the catch even more impressive.
Well, from the Oregon game, they have their grass tall.
Yeah, that's
The knee never
right.
touched.
That's right. That's right. Oh, geez, man. You talk about like the most pivotal situation to a football season ever. Might be
Yeah,
that Penn State Oregon game where Whittington's fumble got reversed.
yeah. Just like
So,
if that doesn't get reversed, Penn State's probably undefeated heading into Indiana. Well, Ohio State. They weren't going to beat Ohio State, but
right. And then James Franklin's freaking still coaching.
yeah. Matt Rule isn't getting a contract extension.
Oh my gosh. It's all because of Noah Whittington's fumble.
Yeah. Just absolutely wild. Just one play can dictate so much.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, that
Who
catch.
knows? Who knows, man? Like what if like James Franklin getting fired, what if that was also the kind of the spur to firing Billy Napier
Yeah.
as early as they did, and then
And
the
Brian
spur
Kelly.
to and Brian Kelly, and then you know so on and so forth.
Yeah, Sam Pittman was
Hugh
getting
Freeze,
fired either way.
right? Yeah. So like I guess you have to wonder now that you kind of look at it from this angle. Did James Franklin in the Penn State job have maybe there is a coach out there that's potentially thinking about Florida that was going to go to Penn State maybe or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really
I,
kept up with that
I'm
stuff for a
like,
couple weeks.
I'm kind of warming up to the thought of Brian Kelly being the next coach of Penn State.
Oh man, dude, why?
His
Why?
ties up there from
What's his
Cincinnati and
ties?
Notre Dame.
Oh, just from being up in the region?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like there's a lot of bad culture stuff going around with the Brian Kelly thing. I'm not sure Penn State wants to be
Yeah,
inviting that
dude.
kind of thing with its history, too.
I saw a thing on Instagram of Malik Neighbors when they fired Brian Kelly. Put
Hmm.
something along the lines of like, "Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out." Like he was so happy to see Brian Kelly fired.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see the freaking Auburn? The Auburn. Oh no 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 no! Sorry, it was the Ole Miss guy, Ole Miss quarterback that was making comments about Hugh Freeze.
Chambliss.
No no no, the guy that's been out of college football for a few years, but he was coached by Freeze, and he was making comments. He's like, I told you guys that when you hired Freeze at Auburn, blah blah blah. So he's been Bo Wallace.
Okay.
I think it's Bo Wallace.
Yeah, he was there right before Knicks.
Yeah, and so anyway, like he was apparently taking to Twitter on the whole Hugh Freeze thing and saying basically an "I told you so" thing, you know.
Yeah.
So
And it's funny. So they talk about Josh Pate talked about this today. He goes, "You guys fired Brian Harson for, and he was doing okay. I think he had one good season, then it kind of went downhill.
hmm
And then Hugh Freeze comes in. It's just a freaking train wreck. And now Harson's the offensive coordinator at Cal. And
yeah,
Cal's offense hasn't been the issue this year.
no, no. So I don't know, like I don't. I guess I didn't realize that Brian Harson was at Auburn.
Yeah, he was the
I
head
didn't.
coach.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Why am I?
he was the head coach before Freeze.
Brian Harson was?
Yeah,
How do I? Why am I not recalling this?
I don't know.
That's interesting because he was the one that came out of Boise, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Well, that's news to me because maybe well, it's kind of like we said before, like the last, like 2 years, 2, 3 years or
Around
whatever it
COVID, you
was.
kind of got away from it.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was. So
Yeah.
the Scott Frost era at Nebraska kind of.
Yeah.
So,
It's interesting just to see how all these lasting effects. And
yeah.
I'm going to get away from the games from Saturday because I don't know if you saw this tweet I put out last week, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. I think that this year, with all these firings, there's not an elite group of coaches out there. And
Mm.
I think that this is going to be a very hit or miss kind of cycle where you're going to see programs that prematurely fire their coaches, and it's going to be another 5 years of dumpster fires. What do you think of that?
Well, it allows some of the people that have been. It allows some of the established coaches to become into that upper echelon group, like,
Yeah.
or perceptively. Um, I think it's been kind of a hit. I feel like I've been reading a lot about this. A lot of people have been saying that same thing, I feel like. And Sark was even kind of talking about it to an extent about like you firing all these coaches and you have it like they're going to coach somewhere, and like Sark was even talking about that stuff, like I guess like how do you know who's elite and who's not?
Yeah.
Because really, like, and what's your category of it? What's your characteristics that have to be covered for you to be an elite coach in your
So
mind?
the way I worded it in the tweet is keeping them where they're at now or better. I think that they won't achieve that. Does that make sense?
So you're
Like it's going to
saying
be a
in
continued down. Like
in
I was
year
mostly
one,
aiming at Penn State for firing Franklin.
sure.
They're going to bring someone in that I think they would have had better success had they kept Franklin. And this guy was in the semifinals last year. Like,
Dude, this is Frank Solich all over
yeah.
again.
And I get the Brian Kelly firing had nothing to do with the on the field stuff, in
No.
my opinion. But like Billy Napier are they all in on going after Kiffin? Like,
Florida?
yeah, because
What?
otherwise
Yeah.
that could go south real quick. It could go up real quick too, but it's to me like for the Florida job, I think there's two candidates for that job. Otherwise, it's a miss. And that's
And it's Kiffin and who?
Kiffin and Lincoln Riley.
That's an interesting one. I haven't
I,
seen that, but I haven't been on X for a week or so. So like, I don't
that's
know if that name is
in
getting
our
thrown
coaching
out there a lot.
carousel. That's where I put Lincoln Riley going. That looks like you're
I
drinking
could.
like an old tequila bottle.
It's a nice big mason jar. We
Yeah,
like mason jars around here.
yeah,
Um, Lincoln Riley, I could see that just because of his like disdain for travel in the Big Ten.
yes.
Like, and that's like the only thing I could see.
And
Like,
that guy can recruit.
yeah, and that style that he wants to play and warm weather and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Like, you can now you're in the Southeastern Conference. Like, it was kind of argued that he left Oklahoma to go to USC because that was already a foregone conclusion.
yeah.
They were
That they were
going to
going
the
to the
SEC.
SEC.
Yeah, so like he was like, "Oh, I don't want to play in that crap," and it's like, "Well, geez, you're gonna get paid regardless, and you're not
Yeah,
you're not blowing everybody away at USC." So I don't know. I kind of like Lincoln Riley to Florida, but I feel like a lot of the luster or the allure around Lincoln Riley has kind of like the sun's kind of setting on that.
the crazy thing is they're still in it to get into the Big Ten championship game.
Oh, I know. USC's alive.
They only got one conference loss. If Michigan beats Ohio State, which they have the last 4 years, the Big Ten is a crapshoot. But USC would have to beat Oregon.
Yeah.
And they have Iowa coming to town, which I do not think that favors Iowa.
Why does USC get in over Ohio State then?
Oh, they wouldn't. I'm just saying because Ohio State would still be ranked higher, obviously, so they would go before USC.
I was trying to catch you on your little transitive property from the other
No,
day.
but because they have the win over Michigan. Michigan has, yeah, I know, but it would go to the higher ranked because at that point,
I don't know the tiebreakers.
Big Ten's
I need
tiebreaker
to
is higher
probably
ranked
polish up on that. Yeah, that's dumb.
because they had to do it last year with the 3-way tie.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, 3-way tie. Who's the other? Who's the tie? It was Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan.
Oregon.
No, Oregon was undefeated.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, so that was the tiebreaker with Penn State. Or did Ohio State, Penn State play last year?
Yeah, and Penn State lost.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it. Or Indiana.
Oh, Indiana.
Yeah.
Yes.
I knew there was a tiebreaker last year. I was just drawing a blank.
But Ohio State beat Indiana and beat Penn State.
Yep.
But Penn State beat Indiana. So how did oh, that's so stupid. I still don't understand that.
Yeah, so it's just wild.
So yeah, okay. Well, we can move on, I guess. But
I mean, ACC is going to be dealing with this too. They got 5 teams tied with 1 loss.
yeah, I gotta pull that sheet up because I didn't make my updates to it yet.
Pitt still has Georgia Tech, and Miami.
Pitt has Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, Miami.
Yeah,
if they
but
win
Notre Dame's
out,
a non-con.
dude, if they win out though, you'd have to be like Pittsburgh is just as like that's no different than the way Arizona State finished their year last year. Like Pitt's hot.
Yeah.
You know, so and they'd be 7-1. Virginia already lost to Wake Forest.
You got Louisville, SMU this week.
Yeah, no, Louisville's playing Clemson this week.
The next week that they play?
Yes.
Okay. I knew that game was coming up.
Yeah, it's and coming.
Clemson has to win out just to be bowl eligible.
Dude, I said this to Colin when I was there. Like, speaking of Clemson, like I was looking at the Big Ten standings even, and it's like Penn State's 0-6 in conference play.
Yeah.
Like they have to win out to be bowl eligible too.
Yeah. It's just
Clemson and Penn State.
The number 2 and 3 or 3 and 4 teams coming into the year.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's wild.
Now, if you're anti SEC, you need Georgia and Oklahoma or Georgia and Alabama to win this week.
Yes. Because okay, yeah, if you're anti-SEC, your best case scenario is only 4 teams making the playoff.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you're rooting on Georgia because you do not want Texas to slide in there too.
No.
And you do not want Oklahoma to slide in there. And you want
Texas A&M to beat Texas in the last week.
Yes.
Because if Texas wins that A&M game, they will find a way to put Texas in.
Oh, for sure.
You need Tennessee to beat Vanderbilt.
Not if they're 9-3, dude. Like 9-3 Texas is not getting in. I don't care what anybody says, dude. Like they are not going to put in 9-3s unless your stuff that you're kind of been alluding to. You keep talking about the shadiness of the SEC.
They beat A&M. I think they're going to put
No, they
Texas
won't.
did.
I not
Pate
off of
and
merit.
Klatt said the same thing too.
That doesn't matter. They all said the same thing about Alabama last year, and I was the one that was like, they're not going to put 9-3 Bama in over these freaking other teams.
Bama
They're
didn't
not
have
going
any
to.
good wins though.
It doesn't matter. You're not going to put 9-3 in when there's other schools sitting there at 10-2 because
Are
you
you
can't
putting
have.
a 10-2 Vanderbilt over a 9-3 Texas?
That's not. You're not. I'm not comparing the same conference though. That if that's a little different, but when it's across conferences, like you're not going to do that. So
But
like
that's where we're heading towards.
I don't think so. Not based off of, I mean, I haven't redone my thing, but I just like I said, like I have Texas at even if they go even if they beat Texas A&M, they're going to be 9-3 and 6-2 in conference. But Vanderbilt, very well. I
Be
can't.
ten
Man,
and two if they
it
beat
sucks that
Tennessee.
they. Well, yes, that's stupid. I'm counting
And that's
on
where I'm
Tennessee
getting at.
beating
Do you
Vandy.
put a 9-3 Texas over a 10-2 Vandy?
You, I don't know. I wouldn't, but I understand the head-to-head thing.
Yeah, because that's what you were getting at me for with Oklahoma, Michigan, USC. Because the USC and Oklahoma have lost more recently than Michigan,
Yeah.
but they have the head-to-head over Michigan.
Well, Louisville and Virginia losing this last week put a wrench into everything
Yes.
because now I guess you probably are looking at potential 9-3s getting in, but like I don't know, dude. Like, do you? Here's what it comes down to. Like, let's say Cincinnati
Yeah. Beats BYU.
beats BYU and wins out and goes 10-2. That's where I want you to make that distinction. Is
Do they
nine
win
and
the
three
Big Ten?
Texas the Big 12?
Big 12?
No, they wouldn't have enough. They wouldn't get in on tie breaks.
So that would be their third loss.
Oh, they would get in. No, they wouldn't. Yes, they would. They would get in because they'd be 8-1 in conference, and BYU would not be. So it'd be Texas Tech and Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Man, I should have redone all this.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Because then you're at a
yeah,
10
okay,
and 3 conference loser, Cincinnati.
yes. So then Cincinnati is going in my opinion, because like you're not. But that's where your this is where your shadiness comes in. Like, okay, is Cincinnati in the top 12 prior to that week? Because that's where it matters.
Yeah.
If
Because
you're gonna
SMU was in it before losing to Clemson.
right, so
Cincinnati's not even ranked
well they
in the
shouldn't be
college football
because
poll.
I just don't. I mean, I don't even want to talk about Cincinnati because I don't think they're good enough. It just sucks that Utah is going to sit there at 10-2 with a head-to-head over Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But Cincinnati could be the representative if they beat BYU.
Yep.
You know, like to play
The
Texas
Big
Tech.
12 needs BYU and Tech to win out, and BYU win the Big 12 championship.
It'll never happen.
I think that's the
happening.
only scenario Big 12 gets two teams in. I want Utah in, but theoretically, Utah's sitting 15th right now.
Okay, so this is why. So I okay. When I said I didn't listen to Joel Klatt, I apparently lied to you. So, um, he talked about it last week. So, or I listened to his episode, whatever day that was, like Wednesday last week, and he talked about these playoff rankings, and he talked about how like, oh, because Texas is in this spot, but it's like when Texas loses a game, they're going to fall behind Utah. Like, stop
Yes.
talking. Like, Utah is not behind them. Just because they're behind them now doesn't mean that they're not going to jump them later.
Yes. Same with
So,
Oklahoma.
so yes, but I think the story is more about Texas because Texas has the win over Oklahoma, and for all intents and purposes, they're probably both going to finish 9-3, and so Texas is going to be ahead of Oklahoma anyway.
Well, unless
Well,
A&M takes care of business, then
assuming Texas gets that, because if they're 8-4, they're toast, and Oklahoma's toast anyway. Because I just don't think no.
yeah.
So, dude, this is a good discussion. I wish I was more ready for this, but
I had no intent of this podcast going this way.
Well, that's why these are the best ones, because like Washington and Iowa can't finish 10-2 now.
Yeah.
USC.
The Big Ten's only hope is Michigan and USC outside of the top 3. And USC has to play Oregon, and Michigan has to play Ohio State.
Yeah, so USC and Oregon, one of those is getting knocked out in week 13. So you're only going to get Indiana, Ohio State. Michigan has to win out.
Yeah.
They have to beat Ohio State. Otherwise, oh my gosh. There's a lot of 9-3s possible here.
Yeah, Pate was saying there's a 50% chance the Big Ten only gets 2.
I won't watch the playoffs if there's more than 4 SEC schools.
Yeah. That's
because if you're taking 9-3s from the SEC over 9-3s from other conferences, then there's no point. There's no point anymore. Because,
okay, so let's bring this scenario up.
Don't call it the Power 4. Don't call it the Power 4 because it's not the Power 4. It's the Power 1 and everyone else. And so, like, if you want to freaking do it that way, then freaking go. You're going to ruin college football.
Yeah, and this is where your argument's going to come into a point right here. USC beats Oregon. Oregon finishes 10-2. So now you have 10-2 Oregon versus 9-3 Texas. It should be Oregon all day.
Yeah, should be. Might not be.
Nope.
Because of preconceived notions with the AP poll.
Yep.
But I also thought the playoff committee did a really good job of not
Dude, they were way off.
Look what they did with Iowa. Look what they did with Iowa. You know, like the AP poll is clearly not in the minds of the playoff committee.
I don't think the playoff committee is going to drop Iowa out of the top 25.
No, they shouldn't. That's dumb. Like what? Like they lost. They were in control of the Indiana game, and lost in Iowa. So Indiana won in Iowa fashion that day. Like the things that normally go Iowa's way didn't. It ended up going in. Like they lost. Like they missed that field goal and they dropped that pick. Like Indiana or Iowa basically had an Iowa win. The proverbial Iowa win slipped through their fingers because they couldn't execute the Iowa way that they've lived on for so long.
You could say the same for the Oregon game.
Yeah, for sure. And
Oregon rushes for almost 300 yards. They have 115 yards passing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really all that far out of the realm of possibility that Iowa could be unbeaten right now.
I would have to go back. I don't remember the Iowa State game.
Iowa State game was goofy too.
That was a field goal at the end, right?
Yeah, 58-yarder.
Yeah.
You know, so like, and Iowa felt like it just. I feel like we're beating a dead horse with Iowa because it's like Iowa does the same thing to everybody. Like they might. It's one of those things where you just like you feel the pressure building.
Yeah.
And you feel it building, and then it's like, oh my gosh, like the momentum is just slowly, like literally, like steamroller slow.
Yeah.
Like just like I'm not sure if they're gonna, and then eventually just blows right through this freaking thing, you know, and if it wasn't for Gronowski being so inept, the first
half the season,
first 3 weeks, 4 weeks or whatever, really just the Iowa State game. And kind of Indiana.
You could throw Indiana in there.
He got hurt in that game, dude. Didn't even finish. So like, and they changed their offensive. They changed a little bit of their offensive identity after the Indiana game.
Yeah.
Like they're way more out of the gun and you like quarterback power type stuff and a lot of the same principles outside zone and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's not, initially we were talking about, oh, it's under center, it's stretch and then boot
Yeah.
away and then all, like they're not doing all of that stuff either now. Like they put a bunch of additional stuff in there for Gronowski's skill set.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, like this is okay, I'm going to say this again. This is also why I think they're going to kind of go do some shady things, but I think it's for a different motivation rather than what you think it is for the SEC. I think they're going to make this whole thing look as if it's a reason to expand the playoff immediately.
Yeah.
That's what I think because this is going to be the exact year. This is 2007, just in a
Yeah.
different just like in a different like parallel,
Yeah.
because we talked about how like 2007 would have been the perfect year to have a playoff,
Yeah.
right? Well, 2025 is the perfect year to have an expand of why 12 isn't enough.
Yeah.
Make it be 16, have a defined path for two automatic bids in each Power Four conference, and then fill out the next 8 at larges.
Yeah.
Like is
The
that
thing that
is that bad? Is that a bad way?
no, and the thing that um I hope they take into effect is the conference games with the SEC and ACC.
Well, they have to. The ACC has the best non-con wins of the year.
Yeah.
So like you can't tell me that the SEC when everybody compares conference strength against each other, and the SEC's argument is always about how they win the non-con games against the other conferences. Well, that's not necessarily true because it didn't happen in bowl season a year ago, and
Yeah.
it didn't happen this year.
Yep.
Like at the beginning of the year in terms of the biggest
The
games.
two best non-con wins are Florida State over Alabama and Miami over Notre Dame. I guess you could throw in A&M beating Notre Dame, but
Yeah,
Miami whooped Notre Dame.
right.
A&M
But
needed a last second play.
but they're still getting credit. So the SEC is still getting credit because they do this whole thing of like where they were ranked at the time.
Yep.
So there's only one direction I'm going here. The SEC is still getting a nice bump from the Bayou Bengals
Yep.
beating Clemson in week 1 when it's like both of these teams are hot garbage,
Yeah.
like in
But
shambles.
they don't shift it over to Ohio State. They want to talk about Ohio State's strength of schedule. Well, they beat number 1 Texas.
Right, dude. So like nah, it's incredible. And so like I think Joel Klatt in that same episode, the one time I did listen, he did mention using PowerPoints.
Yeah. I heard that.
And I have been saying, I'm not saying that's the way to go, and I know that but that's kind of what I've been kind of dicking around with a little bit, is trying to find a way to apply like a multiplier. So like
Yeah.
you get a base amount of points for a win on the road, a win at home,
Conference win on the road.
yeah, like just there's all these categorical things
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, based on the opponent's record, like if you're out of the G5, it's not equal to a Power 4,
Yeah.
but like just for the sake of ease, like an 8-4 an 8-4 for the ACC in this system would still be equal to 8-4 in the SEC.
Yeah.
But you have different multipliers in play, and so like I said, I've been dicking around with it on ChatGPT and stuff, and it was saying like you could put a I don't know, if you give a point total for like 20, you get 20 points or whatever for a win.
Yeah.
But then you get to multiply that by .025 because it was a rain game and you know, or whatever, you know, like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
kind of talking through all this stuff, and so like you can add those points, and at the end you have this whole freaking PowerPoint system that's more intricate than the way we all understand it through the NSAA for football,
Yeah.
and then apply that. So like Clat was talking like kind of like the BCS, but something a little bit more objective that you can see as a casual
Yeah.
fan and know like what's being computed rather than just this, oh, it's just the computers that are saying, well, what are they,
Yeah.
what are they taking into account, you know? So like I think margin of victory is a big deal.
Yes.
Personally, I think you should be measured like, and I know that some people hate that, and that's one of those things that there's not very many people in between. It's either you hate that metric or you love that metric.
And that's
And
where I like the having the human element, because a computer is not going to know that Oregon killed Penn State. That should still be Oregon beat number 3 Penn State,
why?
because in like my eyes, if Oregon doesn't win, like we talked about before, is Penn State undefeated going to Ohio State? Is James Franklin still the coach?
Yeah, but that didn't happen though, so that doesn't matter.
But no, what I'm saying is at the time though, they
Yeah,
beat the
I
number
know
5
exactly
team.
what you're saying, but I'm like I don't like the whole idea of like, well, you get credit for who they were at the time. Well, sometimes we don't know who they were at the
Yeah.
time. It's just based on what we think.
But it goes back to like what you were saying with LSU Clemson, where it's like they turned out to be shit.
Yeah. So like if you're gonna say that Oregon gets the benefit of like beating number 3 Penn State, that means that LSU still gets credit for beating then number 4 Clemson, but Clemson's 3-6.
Yeah, and that's where I
The
was
same
going with
thing.
the Ohio, like how the SEC still does that.
Yes.
Well, we
Oh,
beat
I
them when
know
they
they
were
do.
number 4. We beat them. Well, then why doesn't it count for the Big Ten when they beat number 1 Texas, when they beat number 5 Penn State or whatever?
Right. No, I know.
It's
It is.
going one conference but not the other.
But I feel like sometimes that's a lot of just like people that don't. Those are just like talking heads on in the
Yeah,
SEC.
yeah.
You know, like that's Paul Feinbaum, and
Hurt
you know all
Street
the.
was doing it.
Well, that's because he's paid by ESPN,
Yeah,
and then they. It's funny because he. You want to tell me that he wasn't paid to say like, oh man, you think I don't want the Big Ten to be like this? I
yeah,
came from the Big Ten. Like he was told to say that.
yeah.
He was absolutely scripted to have to say that. Like
Yes,
couldn't convince me otherwise.
and
Like you've been with SEC, you've been with the ESPN network for how long now? Like you're an SEC guy at this point.
yeah, it's annoying, and it's back to what I brought up a couple minutes ago. The SEC conundrum of the 7 teams in the top 15. Where are
Hmm.
they at if they play one more conference game like everyone else?
I've been saying that for a couple years too, and most of us have. But like that's a big thing, you know, playing that extra conference game instead of it being the Citadel,
Yeah.
you know, Ole Miss.
Yeah, how does that make sense in the AP poll? Oregon beats 20th ranked Iowa. Then Ole Miss beats the Citadel. Oregon drops in the AP behind Ole Miss.
Yeah, dude. But that, I mean, it was the AP, so I mean,
Yeah.
the Iowa wasn't ranked in the AP poll, but still, the AP's it's just such it's so bad. It's so bad. Um,
All right, let's get back to some games this weekend because 2 interesting things happened. Nussmeyer and DJ Lagway both got benched this weekend. At the
yeah,
beginning of the year, these were probably 2 of the top 5 Heisman guys,
yeah, absolutely. Well, Nussmeier
and
passed for 4,500 yards last year.
now they're both benched.
Yeah,
Lagway is
that's
going to start
crazy.
this weekend, I did see. But, man,
Yeah, it'll be. I mean, Florida's season. Can they get bowl eligible? Yes,
I
yes, they can.
believe
They have
they're
to.
at 6 losses.
They have to win out.
Yeah. and they have Tennessee coming up.
They have Ole Miss this week.
Then is it Tennessee next week, and then Florida State?
Yeah, so they're not going bowling.
Yeah,
They lost 38-7 to Kentucky.
Kentucky. Yeah,
I was gonna say this before you wanted to go back into the games. I was gonna say like why this is why the whole SEC thing, like these games where Kentucky played Ole Miss close and Texas close, and like Auburn has not been able to punch through and shake this up a little bit by
yeah,
getting 2 out of those 5 close games they've played. You know, like it's too bad because the SEC really could be in, you know, a not so good place had Auburn knocked off a couple of those games.
yeah. Or if they played one more conference game.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
It's gonna be a big weekend this weekend. I think that Thanksgiving weekend's just gonna be like 2007 or 2001, like you talked about,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just gonna be absolute chaos.
Man, I'll tell you what. I didn't look at the weeks. Are we still? Are we really going to go over last week's games, or are we just going to be like the hell with it?
Well, there wasn't a whole lot. We hit on Oregon, we hit on Texas Tech, we hit on um, Indiana. Like the ACC's hot garbage right now with the weekend they had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously Thursday night we'll talk a lot more about the games coming up this week.
We got two kind of like decent bangers on Friday.
Yeah, Louisville, Clemson.
Louisville, Clemson, and Oregon, Minnesota.
Yeah,
That's another thing. Like, I just don't think that. I kind of like being up here better now that I have I have 2 screens, so I can kind of.
yeah, go back and forth.
Yeah. Anyway, Minnesota, the Big Ten standings are like sneaky good if you really think about it. It just people don't. It's honestly it's no different numbers wise than
Yeah.
the SEC. I
Oh,
mean,
I know.
after you get past LSU in the SEC, you have nothing behind it. Florida,
Yeah.
Kentucky, Mississippi State, Auburn, South Carolina, Arkansas. I mean, they're all freaking 6 losses, 7 losses.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom of the SEC is freaking
The
bad.
Big Ten has 10 eligible bowl teams right now.
Yeah,
I think it was they could get 4 more.
well, I haven't looked at the schedules, but technically by record, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they can still get 6 more. Now I'm sure there's some matchups across there that because
Yeah.
most of those have to win out.
Yeah.
Purdue's the only school that's
Out.
out of it mathematically. Because even Wisconsin's in it now after they beat Huskies.
Yeah, dude. Their leading passer is the punter. They threw 7 passes the whole game.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but
No,
like,
it's. I
I mean, Northwestern's probably not gonna get there. I think that they had that rough.
mean,
Like
they have
they had
6
to.
wins, don't they?
No, they're at 5-4. I felt like when I did the projections and stuff going
Yeah.
forward, it felt like they had to beat Nebraska to get to 6.
Because they got Illinois at Wrigley this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and then Indiana. I
Michigan,
think.
they have Michigan. No, they don't have Illinois till the end. They have Michigan, Minnesota, and then at Illinois, or at Wrigley. So I'm
They
looking
have
at it right here.
Illinois, Michigan, and who?
Minnesota.
They could get Minnesota.
Oh my gosh, I don't want them to. Like I don't you want Minnesota to keep winning?
I want as many bowl eligible Big Ten teams as possible.
Do you think that that's a big deal when it comes to comparing conferences?
No, not at all.
So like what's the point? Okay, I should let me back up. Let me just say like what's your reasoning for wanting to as many bowl eligible teams in the Big Ten as possible?
Tougher conference, in my opinion.
But from what angle? Like just because so like
Because
saying
I'm
that the
so tired of the
conferences-
narrative that the Big Ten's just top heavy. They have 3 teams.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were saying that from the perspective of like in comparison to the SEC, or if you were
No, just
saying,
not even just SEC. It's across the country. Big Ten's top heavy. Well, let's get as many bowl eligible teams as we can, and
mm,
then let's go 14-3 or
yeah,
whatever. You know.
it's really too bad. It is so bad that Minnesota lost to Cal.
Yes.
That one
But is it
hurts.
that bad now?
Well, no, because I mean Cal's kind of decent, when
It's
they
so
decide to
weird.
be.
They're so weird.
But I think that just goes back to the same thing that we said probably three
Dude,
weeks ago,
I
is
got to
how
bring
it's
this
like,
up because we're talking about Cal. I'm not going to cuss because we have like 3 straight episodes that we don't have to put parental controls on. What the heck happened to San Diego State?
I don't know, man. Like their
Hawaii took
defense
them
was,
to the woodshed.
yeah, their defense was rolling
Yeah.
for like, and then all of a sudden I saw that they were down 31-6, and I was like, okay. It
Yeah.
seriously, it felt like this last week was like, we're gonna fix the playoffs right now.
Hmm. And now we'll see what happens tomorrow
Hmm.
because in the AP poll, JMU is now the highest ranked G5, 1 spot ahead of USF.
Well, we'll see about what happens tomorrow,
Yeah.
but because I can't, again, like the AP poll doesn't mean, I don't even bother with it because
Yeah.
it literally means nothing. It doesn't even give you an idea
Yeah.
because the committee is not gonna like. But anyway, Minnesota finishes with Oregon, Northwestern, Wisconsin.
What's Wisconsin's schedule? Can they get bowl eligible?
Yeah, yeah, they're 3-6.
I know
So,
with Minnesota.
oh yeah, but no, they have to go to Bloomington,
Ooh, yeah, not happening.
and then they got to play Illinois too. So Illinois is the one right there that people are just like forgetting about. Colin and I
Yeah.
were talking about this yesterday in Kearney.
So I was gonna put him in my top 30. Like I looked at
Colin
their
has
schedule.
them at like 21.
Yeah, I just
They just have like ever since they lost to Indiana the way they did, everybody
Washington.
and Washington,
That was the
dude,
only thing that kept him out for me.
the Big Ten is good.
I know.
It's good. I personally think that college football in the Power Four plus Notre Dame is good football. Like everybody can say what they want, that the
Yeah.
ACC sucks and all this stuff. It's like, well, if the ACC sucks, then that means that the Big Ten's not very good because of Cal.
Yeah.
You know?
But the Big Ten's better than the SEC because Notre Dame or because Ohio State beat Texas.
Yeah, like, dude, it's just college
We
football.
don't
Like,
have to talk about Alabama, Wisconsin. That doesn't
why
count.
don't we why don't we just throw freaking conferences out and start
Yes.
pulling schools out of a hat and group them up every year
Yeah.
and say this is your pod, regardless. I mean,
And
out of the 64 Power 4 teams or whatever number it is,
yeah.
and say
And
this
I
is your
know
pod.
Matt Rule hit on this and got drugged by the media for this, but I think it's a real thing. When you have to fly to Los Angeles, come back. Yeah, or you have to fly to Rutgers. Like, obviously, Nebraska's perfectly located. But what about teams like Michigan, where they got to fly to Los Angeles and come back? It's having to play across the whole country takes a toll on the
Hmm.
body.
Yeah,
Different time zones, different everything. I
I
mean,
just
look what
think
it's
it.
done. Look what it's done to the ACC. It's
Yes, Stanford and Cal.
yes,
Like, what the frick, man? It's oh my gosh. Like I want to spend time after this season talking about some of this hypothetical, like what college football needs to look like versus what it currently does, because
yeah,
it was exciting to it's it still is exciting to have Oregon and USC and UCLA in the
Yeah.
Big Ten. It's exciting to have Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC. It's not exciting to have Cal and Stanford in the ACC.
No.
But like I feel like I don't know. Like I would really love to see a system where I mean you'll never get this, but because there's too
It's too
much
much
money and
money.
unless we have a breakaway, unless we have a complete breakaway and there's no conferences anymore and you just have an NFL type thing where there's
It,
64 schools.
I want to go to the European model,
What is that?
the European soccer model.
I don't follow soccer. It's freaking soccer.
I know, but everyone knows the European soccer model.
Not
So you
me.
take
And I'm
your
the smartest person here.
take your 80 take 80 teams, right?
Yeah.
And you have your top 20, next 20, next 20, next 20. And you go based off of so you have your tier 1. The bottom 4 drop to tier 2. The top 2 or the top 4 in tier 2 go to tier 1 the next season. Same thing from 3 down and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the European soccer model where you have your top 20 teams, they compete for the national title. The rest you're competing to go up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, cuz that leaves you competing a whole season. You're not, oh, we got 3 losses, we're out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you got to keep winning otherwise you drop to the next tier and then you can't even compete.
What if we, how like everybody's trying to come up to the FBS level, right?
Yeah.
What if you went back to splitting the way it used to be to an extent? I mean, you're not making those teams be Division 1 double A,
Yeah.
but like you're being now you're making an extra one above. And so that way like I guess my point is that if you were to have a breakaway where the P4 does its thing and maybe it does this freaking European thing, but the groups that had come up to the FBS, the next 80 schools cuz or whatever it is 60, like what if they have their own set of playoffs too?
Yeah.
Like
And
what
they
if
do that in the European soccer
right, okay,
where
so what if Memphis and South Florida and all those guys they can have their own playoffs?
so what they
Like
do in European soccer is like that tier 2, the top 2 automatically advance. Then
mhm,
I can't remember if it's the next 4 or the next 8. They do a playoff where the final 2 teams that would be in the championship automatically get promoted. So you could be the 7th team in that playoff, but if you win it, you get promoted.
yeah. I mean, I don't hate it, but I mean, I just don't
It
understand
would
it.
never work
Like,
because of the NIL and all that.
yeah. I mean, I just personally think that you're headed to some sort of like I think you're going to end up seeing a thing go back to more regionality
Yes.
to an extent. Like even though I mean, because if you combined every conference and you called it, you know, I don't know, like the NFL minors, which you're never going to call it
Yeah.
that, but like, you know,
The
then you're
FBS.
gonna
Let's
you're gonna
call it
have
the FBS.
the FBS. Okay, if you're gonna have everybody conjoined into one singular thing,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna have maybe you have two sides, but you're still gonna have your AFC West and your NFC West, that's going to be
Yeah.
out there rather than, you know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah.
that way Cal and Stanford can still play freaking Washington and Oregon, but
Yeah.
maybe they're in separate conferences
Yeah.
like the NFL has. And
Yeah.
then maybe you have two different freaking maybe that's what the Big 10 and SEC type thing's going to be because that's what a lot of people think. People think it's going to end up being the SEC versus the Big 10, but it's going to be these two ginormous freaking
Yeah.
entities. And then you have, so I don't know. But I was kind of drawing up like a perfect conference that I would love to have, at least from Nebraska's standpoint. and like it's obviously regional. Like I would love to have like a mix of the old Big 12 and some of the Big 10, and then
Yeah.
introduce like playing like I don't know, like giving us access to LSU because of freaking Louisiana
Yeah.
recruits and that kind of thing. You know, like being in a conference with them. So I don't know, like a having Nebraska be in with like Arizona and Utah, and then like a southern swinging
Yeah.
like deal, like where
Arkansas,
Nebraska,
LSU.
yeah, where Nebraska's like the farthest north team, them
Yeah.
and Iowa, you know. But
Would you
yeah,
throw Minnesota in there?
I would.
Yeah.
I actually would. So, but I was thinking just for the sake of my statement, I was, you know, because
Yeah.
obviously that, because I think that the games that I think Nebraska needs to play from a pure fan and possible rivalry standpoint has to be Iowa, Colorado, Minnesota.
Oklahoma.
I don't think it's Oklahoma. I think Missouri is another one. I could give two shits less about for or craps less about
I know you
Oklahoma.
hate Oklahoma, but the tradition of the Nebraska Oklahoma
I don't
rivalry.
care. I don't care. I would rather play Texas. I want to play because I have more disdain for Texas. I don't like the Oklahoma Nebraska game does nothing for me. It never has. And like I grew up when I started paying attention to Nebraska, who's the one that was knocking Nebraska off? It was freaking Texas. Like I freaking want to play Texas. You know, so
No, I want Oklahoma. Bring back game of the century.
yeah, but you weren't even of eight. You weren't even born. Like
Okay,
that's
so
just
bring back
history.
Eric Crouch going down the sideline.
Okay, I suppose that's probably okay. Point taken. But anyway, my point is like you know, like I don't care. I mean, I would love to play Kansas State again every year.
Yeah.
You know, like even if you threw Oklahoma in there, I mean, if you gave me 11 opponents to pick every year to play every single year,
Yeah.
or 12, sorry, 12 opponents to play every single year, like you're
Yeah.
combining the new with
You're
the old.
taking Minnesota, Iowa, Colorado, Missouri, Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, Texas, Texas A&M,
Not
LSU.
Oklahoma State. Not Oklahoma State.
They wouldn't be in that conference.
They would not. I would rather go play Utah.
Yeah. Where's Oklahoma State go then?
I don't know, but I'm just saying like for my own personal thing,
Yeah.
like I would rather see Nebraska play Arizona State and Utah rather than Oklahoma State.
In
And I'm
Kansas.
trying I guess I'm trying to do that from the pure standpoint of recruiting base.
Yeah.
Like if we play Oklahoma and we play Texas, we don't need to play Baylor. We don't need to play Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Like that's why I would add access to recruiting in Arizona,
Yeah.
add another state with Utah, LSU,
Louisiana.
Arkansas is a good one. Like I think Arkansas would be a fun one, but
All right.
you
Well,
know,
we're at an hour. We got a lot off our chests.
it's been a long time. I feel like I haven't been with you for a long time.
I know. A week.
It's a whole week. That's a long time
I know.
in the podcast world.
And even last week, you had so much going on.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It was-
yeah. The last
Last
episode
week
I
was
did
a
with
wild
you.
week for you.
Yes,
You
yes,
added a
it
member to the
was.
family.
The dog has been a fun addition.
Yeah.
Although getting up at 2:30 in the morning to let him out every night, that's not as fun. But take the good with the bad.
Yeah. Well, we'll end it here. Like, follow, subscribe. And we'll see you on Thursday.
Adios.